All right, guys. So unfortunately, I missed the live game. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna replay cast game number one here, and when the live game, aka game number three, is done, we will replay cast that one as well. So we will cover all the games for you guys. Apologize for not getting into the game. They didn't want to remake because the servers were having too many issues. So here we are. Um, Replay cast of game number one. I'm going to be joined by BKB. How you doing, BKB? Thanks for joining me here for a replay cast. Appreciate your help.
Anytime. It's always good to bring back the cast that we got on to doing with the cycles and the tournament. So I'm
Yep,
happy
yep.
to be returning into some casts with yourself.
Appreciate it, man. So you're in the replay with me. We see what's going on. We got the draft underway here. We got Moira Magnus Bubbles banned out here by Hex. We got Draconis, Kinesis, and Switchblade banned out here by the Hellborn side, Donkey Kong. I think everything's pretty normal, right? Nothing really. Maybe the Bubbles ban. Do you think the Bubbles ban's a little surprising?
Uh, to be honest, I think Bubbles is one of those heroes that really profits on the spell shards change. So you look at spell shards when you upgrade it into level one. It allows you to farm out creep waves incredibly quickly. So it's one of those mid laners that can push out waves very, very fast. And I think that Bubbles, has always been renowned in Heroes of Newer as being one of those gankers that's always very reliable and solid because Keltfield is such an easy spell to land. So,
Mhm.
I don't think there's anyone that really stands out as a very good Bubbles player, but I think the hero in general is just pretty effective in terms of, what it offers into a tournament scrim.
Okay. So we have the first half of the draft actually already done. We got first pick of Puppet Master from Hex, and they respond here with Rhapsody and Cthulhu Font. So they pick up some support, a support option and an initiator to follow up that carry Puppet Master pick. We also see the Lord Self Force and the Accursed coming out. So what do you think of the start of the draft?
Um, the Rhapsody pick I like a lot because, as we saw towards the end of the cycles, a couple of months ago, we did see Rhapsody picked up quite frequently with regards to her changes and her ability to move with her heal. So I think that she does offer a little bit more in terms of her kind of supporting presence, and I think if you combine that with a very tanky hero such as Cthulhu Fun, I think the synergy definitely works quite nicely with that hero. With relation to Puppet Master, Saphoris, and Accursed on the Legion side, I think that, yeah, I mean, the draft's looking very good at the moment. I think, we probably both agree that Puppet Master is one of the strongest carries at the moment with its recent changes to its E spell, Whiplash,
Yeah.
and to Elder's Parasite. So he can profit off those and obviously farm very quickly and be such a strong presence in team fights. So, yeah, I think both drafts are looking pretty good, but it's going to be quite interesting to see how things change as we go into a new year and a new patch of on which has had some big changes to say the least.
Yeah, so we've had the new patch for like about a month now. I think it came out at the beginning of December.
Yeah.
And it's not typical that you see the carry being picked up like on the first pick, as you typically save those uh, core heroes for later on in the draft. So it kind of shows you how strong Puppet Master is right now with those buffs, as you pointed out, to the Whiplash. Also, the Elder Parasite being kind of a meta pickup on him, which got quite a bit stronger. So, uh, they go ahead and they pick up the Puppet Master there right away. The second wave of bans now already done. We got Martyr, Soul Reaper, and Aluna being banned out here from Donkey Kong. So the Soul Reaper ban, they see the Accursed being picked up. That's something my team likes to do. We pick up the Soul Reaper with the Accursed. Pretty annoying combination of heroes for the long lane. Kind of draws a lot of attention from the other side. We don't usually see Soul Reaper bans, but um, going up against the Cthulhu font, a very tanky hero, it could make a lot of sense to get rid of that Soul Reaper. The Martyr ban, uh, also very interesting because Martyr is a hero that I think they would more likely rather pick up going up against the Self Forest. I think it's less likely that the Legion side would pick up Martyr.
I'm yeah, I'm keen to hear your opinion about this. Do you think Mars? I mean, you've kind of briefly mentioned it then, but do you think Marset is generally a good support hero against Saphoris? And if so, what's your reasoning behind that?
The thing is, I don't personally like Martyr in general. I just think other supports are they do much more things than Martyr. I think Martyr's more of a lane dominating support than um, a support that kind of like transitions throughout the game with a very like beneficial team fight aspect. Martyr is really single target focused on protecting that one guy, and I think that the fact that wings can be counterplayed so easily with something like a Sand Scepter or a Nullfire Blade, I think that's a big weakness of the hero. But the hand in hand ultimate from Martyr is very good at counteracting that Undying from Lord Force. Setting the target's HP does get countered by the no healing aspect of the Undying. So it is a counter effect there in theory. I just don't like the Martyr as a hero, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, no, I
I
have a
feel
lot
like
of
what he offers to
agreement.
the team is not as useful as some other supports. You know, something like a Moira that can stun up to 4 people, control a team
Yeah.
fight. You know, just I think there's other heroes that just kind of do more than what Martyr really offers.
Mm.
So, what else? We have the Gladiator, the Pharaoh, and the Pebbles bans. Uh, this is a pretty good banning phase coming out from Dnke as they are lacking another initiator. But the draft is now finished actually. So we had Electrician and Sandwraith picked up from Donkey Kong. It was responded with Flux and Gravekeeper. Okay. I was not expecting Flux and Gravekeeper to come out from Hex. So that's pretty interesting picks there. And they last picked the Ophelia. So they're actually running a jungler here on this side of Donkey Kong. Does that surprise you? Because I don't think we've ever seen Donkey Kong run junglers.
Yeah, it's a good point about the jungle. I mean, I don't expect it, no. But then I do kind of think that with relation to the fact that, they obviously tried quite a few things within the tournaments and the different cycles, I think they're probably quite keen to mix things up a little bit.
Hmm.
I don't know if you mentioned it in your previous cast that you did without me, but I obviously see that Probus has joined their team. So with him, he is a player that I know is very, very strong in terms of he's a great solo laner, very strong carrier player. He is someone that is, very good at dominating games. And I think that, with his kind of vision to their setup, I think they're going to be trying to play around him a little bit.
Hmm.
I look at Ophelia. I look at how Ophelia fits into games. She's such a fantastic tower pusher, as everybody knows. She can really, if you think about the synergy with Electrician and Cthulhu who are very tanky heroes, I can almost see them being very aggressive early on and putting on so much pressure onto Legion that even though Legion have Gravekeeper, Cursed, Flux, these heroes, and even South Forest who are quite tanky, I don't think Legion are going to have enough to really stand up to it. So I like the Ophelia pick. I think it's a fantastic hero, and I do think they're trying to mix things up a little bit and just keep things, with a bit of a surprise element as they go into some new tournaments in the future.
Yeah, and something I want to point out is I really like the Sandwraith pick going up against the Puppet Master. Sandwraith, you think of him as like a late game carry, but he is a very active carry. And since they're running that Ophelia with, a good supporting cast, the Electrician, the Cthulhu very tanky targets, it's going to make grouping up and forcing fights and tower pushing very, very easy, I feel like, with Sandwraith always able to be there as he can farm across the map away from his team. So I really like the draft coming out from Donkey Kong. And
I do.
the
I think
Gravekeeper
it's going
pick,
to be very aggressive.
I'm wondering how the impact of the Gravekeeper is going to be here because it's a hero we don't see a whole lot in competitive play, and it's being played here as a secondary support with that Flux. So I'm a little uncertain of how Gravekeeper will impact this game, but I'm excited to see it nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the kind of infamous Asaf and Dude lane, which is always, incredibly strong. I'm completely with you. I don't know how Gravekeeper is going to work this game. I I think it's either going to be amazing or it's going to be absolutely useless. I have to be honest, because
Hmm.
Gravekeeper is one of those heroes that generally you want to get as many levels as possible, so you can burst heroes down. But obviously, in a
Yeah.
dual lane, he's going to be slightly niched in that aspect. So whether he gets, those levels that he needs, I don't know. I think they're going to have to really dominate the lane for him to be effective. But it is definitely a pick we're not used to seeing too
Ophelia's here
consistently now.
with a Vagabond leader. This could be the Bloodlust Kills Gravekeeper. He does go down to the Vagabond nuke there. And Good start here from Donkey Kong. So something I want to point out before we get too much further into the game is we see a pretty traditional lane setup coming out from Donkey Kong. But the side of Hex, they choose to run their Puppet Master in the mid lane and Lord Silforce in the short lane. Does that surprise you that they didn't kind of do that the opposite? They decide to kind of avoid the Cthulhu versus Puppet Master matchup. Maybe they were expecting um, a dual lane going up against the Puppet Master, and they kind of wanted to protect him and get him farm in the mid lane, or do you feel like they they made the right decision, sending the tanky hero and Lord against the Cthulhu to kind of battle him one versus one? What do you think about the decision there?
Um, it's a very good question, and it's something that I did think about earlier. I mean, it's debatable. You know, Puppet Master will be absolutely fine against Electrician because he has the disables, and I don't think Electrician is really going to cause any sort of threat. The problem is if Ophelia obviously comes in for that gank and that rotation, but then as we're kind of seeing, you know, Chris rotate is obviously giving the support that he needs. So, you know, yes, you could have put Puppet Master in the bot lane, but I don't think it would have changed too much. I think he's going to farm in either lane, and as is South Forest. So, to me, I don't think it makes too much of a difference. However, you know, you could possibly argue that with Puppet in the shorter lane, you've got a little bit more harass onto the Cthulhu. So that's the only way that I can kind of seem to look at it.
Helios
But
here
yeah,
top lane again, this time with the Skeleton King and Flux. Could be the one going down first. He will go down. Rhapsody, she's going to hold her ground as she has the Marchers picked up already. Gravekeeper will fall, so Ophelia already 3 kill involvement in the first 3 minutes, so she has been very active in securing this top lane for Sandwraith.
yeah, this is another thing with the Ophelia pick because they are facing against a Flux and Gravekeeper. Both heroes are very susceptible to being ganked.
Hmm.
You know, you could argue with the Gravekeeper and his mini stun, he could kind of, you know, prevent a little bit of harass coming out from the Ophelia creep. But I think in general they are so susceptible to being ganked. So in my eyes, I think having the Sandwraith with that Ophelia is it's going to be very very good for them, and I can see them. You know, as we kind of discussed a little bit briefly earlier, I think their presence with their heroes is going to be very strong.
Oh, so Electrician gripped up the Accursed at the rune, and he actually still managed to get the rune stolen. So Accursed did a really good job there of preventing the bottle being refilled there from Electrician.
Yeah, I have to put my eyes in, put my place in the electrician's shoes. I know exactly how that feels, and it is one of the most frustrating things in the world because you look at the rune, you're thinking, oh great, I'm gonna have some charges here on my bottle, and then suddenly support player takes it and it kind of messes you up a little bit. So you know he's sitting in the mid lane.
They're going for
Like
a
this,
kill here. Puppet Master's diving the tower. He gets the shield from Accursed. This will be enough for the kill. He even has the power supply there, so he will be safe from the tower hits. But yeah, it's just unfortunate because he simply misclicked on the rune. Accursed did a good job of positioning himself there, to make it hard for Electrician to click on the rune, and got the bottle steal away from him. So that was good.
yeah, I'm just thinking of the Sam Wraith, and with you know the pick they've got there, I like how it's gives them a lot of global presence, which they don't really have with a lot of their other heroes. So you see someone like Electrician set up using 2 different jump in for the stun. Obviously, you combine like that with the Sam
Lux could be in some trouble here. The spells are down. The Toxin Claws are doing a lot of slow here. We got a Staccato coming up in 2 more seconds with those Marchers. Rhapsody chooses not to go for the dive, but there's another Sand coming out from Sandwraith. The Sandstalkers are popped and Gravekeeper. I think he's dead. That's going to be a double tap coming out for Slaska here. And, I was going to talk about, so we've seen a lot of movement from Ophelia, but Flux has still done very, very well in terms of last hitting. He is almost even with the Sandwraith, now falling for the second time. So it kind of shows you that the Sandwraith lane is still a lot weaker than this Flux Gravekeeper lane. But, due to the early ganks and them getting a lot of attention up here, they've kind of been able to get good farm on the Sandwraith. So it's been very, very impactful.
Oh, definitely. I think when you have an Ophelia, you can almost. I don't know if you'd agree with me, but when you play the short lane carry, if you have an Ophelia in your jungle, I almost feel like you can relax a little bit because even if the lane's not going too well, Ophelia is always going to be on hand to give you some support.
See a
And I can
Mirage
kind
here
of
in the bot lane. They're going for a kill on the Sandwraith. One more auto attack, and Sandwraith, he will actually not fall to the tower. Wow, I thought he was dead there. Cthulhu also makes the escape. Both players Very, very low on life. Puppet Master porting in. Did the port actually stop the tower from killing Sandwraith? I missed that.
I missed it as well, unfortunately. I don't know if you'll want to rewind and have a look, or you just
No,
want
no.
to
I
carry
think
on.
for the
But
sake of
yeah,
just keeping the synchronized
yeah,
replay here, we'll let it be unknown. But Sandwraith needs to deliver himself a TP. He's unfortunately wasting a little bit of time here where he's not farming. This will give some more space over to the Flux. But yeah, so that was just more so credit to the Flux. I mean, with the two deaths, the Ophelia rotations, he's still farming
or
very,
mid lane.
very well. A Curse taking a lot of pressure here. Here comes the health potion from Electrician. They're trying to look to turn it around here with the Ophelia, but she's not able to get in range. She does not have the Nature's Wrath skilled, so not able to get that slow off to kind of set up the minions to get in range there. But she is coming in from the flank here. A Curse could be in some trouble. The Minotaur, will it be able to get in range? There's the nuke from the Vagabond. The Minotaur stun is still available. It will connect to follow up that grip. And Puppet Master will fall as Rhapsody ports in as well. It's a double tap coming out for Ophelia. And the rotations here from Donkey Kong are very, very strong here to start off game number one. They take an 8-1 hero kill lead. But, despite the 8-1 hero kill lead, the gold and experience is not that far off. So that just kind of shows you that the laning phase, the creep scores, if we take a look at Lord, Puppet, and Flux, all doing very, very well despite the kills being in favor of Hellborn.
Yeah, I just want to point out. So you mentioned All Star Forest. He's on 61 as far as I can see.
61 creep kills. He is the top creep
Crazy.
farmer in the game, and that is almost triple. I mean, it's like 2.5 times the amount of Cthulhu fonts. So it just kind of shows you how well Lord Sulforce is doing despite that one death. But that's Nookie.
Yeah, I just, as you say, is the Snooki power. But no, he's a very good laner. Obviously played against him quite a few times, and he just farms incredibly well. You look at Saphoris and what he does. He is known to nuke creep waves incredibly quickly, especially at level 5 onwards, and he obviously has that ability to go into the woods when he needs to. But no, I wanted to ask you, with relation to Ophelia, when you hit that level 5 and you can pick up 2 creeps,
Hmm.
what do you personally think is the best combination of creeps to have? I mean, you, I'd imagine you're probably going to say a double skeleton, but do you think
I think
things like
Skeleton
box drawers?
Minotaur, if you want to kill
Okay,
people.
yeah,
Um, That's not to say the Vagabond and the Catmans are not good. It more so depends on if they have escapes or not. If they do not have escapes, then the Catmans and the Vagabonds do the most nuke damage, and those are actually the stronger creeps for ganking.
yeah,
But generally, when you try to set up ganks, it's usually on escape heroes. So the Skeleton King and the Minotaurs are generally better.
okay,
And the Skeleton King's for good reason having the range disable, whereas the Minotaur has to get in range, melee range, to set up those disables. But he's level 7 at the almost 10-minute mark here, which isn't. He's not farming the best, but he's having good GPM and having good map presence as he's been involved in 5 kills. So being level 7 at 10 minutes is not the biggest deal because he's had good impact this game.
yeah. I'd agree with you. Well, first of all, I wouldn't really ever disagree to your opinions about a
Oh,
jungle hero.
please. You can disagree with me anytime. I'm not always
No,
right.
but no, I'm just yeah. Um, with so yeah, as you say, with her levels and her being level 7 at 10 minutes, usually I would say I would want her to be a little bit higher.
Mhm.
However, you kind of balance that out with her impacts. She's got 4 kills and 1 assist. She's in 5 out of 8 kills in the bot lane,
Yep, I
which I
caught
think
that
is a
on
great run.
camera the whole time.
Go on.
No, no, they used the Lord Sulfuras ultimate. Puppet Master disables from behind, and Cthulhu Fun couldn't escape. Pretty straightforward.
Okay. Yeah, the Puppet Master skipped Bottle, which I'm not too surprised with because he looks to go into that fast Elder's Parasite build,
Hmm.
which does seem very common with the new changes to the patch. Um, what do you think about it? Do you like Puppet Master not going bottle, or do you think there is potential for him to go for rune control? Because me personally, if I play Puppet Master mid, I think bottling runes is actually very useful for the hero,
Okay.
especially if you grab something like a haste or an illusion and you've got so much potential to do a lot with them. What do you think? Do you like seeing Puppet Master go for his core items first, or do you think we could, see the other option?
I think I'll say 2 reasons. I think he didn't need a bottle this game because he was expecting Ophelia or his 2 supports to be camping them and them utilizing the runes. But also, I feel that Puppet as a hero as we have Ophelia here smoked up in the mid lane. We got the Sandwraith ultimate coming out. Actually, in the bot lane, they take out Snooki on the Lord. Cthulhuphon getting turned on here with the Mass DPS. He might make the escape. No, he can't get the... Actually, I think he had the trample off, or on cooldown. But, I think Puppet Master is not a hero that can really utilize Bottle too well, as he doesn't have spells to spam, and kind of his wave clear comes from his auto attacks from the whip, which he is generally looking to max out early. So I feel like the Bottle doesn't really synergize too well with Puppet Master um, when he's played in a mid role. So I think it's perfectly fine, and it allows him to pick up that Elder much quicker.
Yeah.
So I think it's good he doesn't go for Bottle here.
I don't know if you mentioned it in your last game, but what do you personally think about the Elder's Parasite change?
I think it's slightly too strong right now, and it'll probably need to receive a bit of a tone down. And it may. So I think it could go a couple of ways. Either the amplified damage could be increased back uh, to compensate for the effects that it got buffed up, or the effects get nerfed slightly and the um, amplified damage could remain the same. But right now it's got too many bonuses from the old version in the previous patch. Um, but yeah, it's really strong on Puppet specifically because he got that attack speed bonus to whip. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of like a double effect kind of thing where he's just kind of farming way too fast with those two things. So we're gonna
Yeah,
see him kind of skyrocket in GPM now, most likely.
I think some of it has relation to the Whispering Helm and the fact they remove the 10 extra damage, I believe,
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes.
that 10 extra damage does actually make quite a bit of difference, especially with your Whiplash, because it affects your ability to farm stacks and farm creep waves.
Hmm.
So I think Whispering Helm is almost completely unviable on the hero now. And that Puppet Master is almost becoming very similar to Moon Queen in the fact that you look at Moon Queen and how she tends to build. It's usually, although it's probably changed now, but you think about 6 months ago, it would be Steam Boots, Whispering Helm, 5 Brand Trunken, or 5 Geometer's Vein Trunken, Wing Bow, Similar Rage. Puppet Master is almost kind of becoming very similar in the respect that his build is almost completely one-dimensional.
Oh, Cthulhu Fawn. He tried to set up for the team support to come in, but he missed a trample. And Electrician could be in some trouble, but he is a lot tankier than Cthulhu Fawn is. Just kind of due to the farm uh, and the electric shield, which he has maxed out. But the Ophelia train, they get a tower in the bot lane, so they've taken out now 3 towers. And Legion getting their first tower kill here in the
Yeah,
mid lane. Mhm.
yeah, I think it was unfortunate because you got missed his stun, but do you really want to go in when you can see that many heroes in one position, especially with a Puppet Master who's activated his Elders? Quite a risky play. Um,
Mhm.
but no, I think I'm just kind of debating in my head what late game could potentially look like, with the Samwraith against the Puppet Master. I love Samwraith as a hero. I think it's a fantastic late game hero, and I think it does have a bit more hard carry presence than the Puppet. But do you think that we're going to need to see Samwraith with the staff so he can, as they go into the Ancient?
Yep, they're gonna jump here on the Lord. Lord could be in some trouble. He's healing up from that passive. Here comes the New Earth Blessing from Ophelia. Rhapsody will actually get field almost to full. And now Flux is in some trouble. The Ophelia factor coming into play there. They are just too strong with the triple Minotaurs and the heals as he has the Astrally picked up. So Holmei picks up a double tap there as he was kind of the one struggling a bit. But now he's up to almost 300 gold per minute, so that'll help him get some tankiness going on the Cthulhu farm. But so your question was the Sandwraith versus Puppet Master as the game kind of scales in.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to add, do you think that Staff of the Master on Samwraith is going to be core this game for them to really take it into, if it goes into late game? Or do you think, Staff is something that we don't really see as frequently on Samwraith anymore?
Um, well, I think they might look to get the staff on the Cthulhu and upgrade the Sandwraith. I think that might be the best option for them. But as far as will he need a staff, I think it really just kind of depends on the farm of the two heroes, because When Puppet has a Shrunken, having the staff on Sandwraith is great. But pre-Shrunken Head, I don't think Sandwraith needs the staff to kind of catch him out. We're going to see the Trample come out here. Puppet Show is on the Electrician. And they will get the kills onto both the Electrician and the Cthulhuphon. So a great start for Hex to this fight. They didn't have Ophelia's touch for this fight here. And now Ophelia, she's going to be kind of chased down, but I don't think she's going to fall. I would like to see him turn and send that creep home, but he didn't do it, so I'm a little sad. Jim Carrey, you didn't save his Minotaur there, but it is what it is.
To be fair, I'm completely the same.
Just small Ophelia things.
If I run away with Ophelia, I don't even think about the creeps. I'm like, fuck it, they can just take it and I'll get a new one. But I think you're much more efficient than me at playing the hero, so
So
I'm
they
not
actually
going to say much more.
they lose their tower here, but we're having a dive coming out from Hex. This might get punished. We do have a Sandwraith Mirage up. We'll see if they look to go in. The Dream of Madness is activated here from Cthulhuphon. A curse might get sacrificed here. He gets the what's that thing called? The flame consumption. Yes, I was blanking on the name there. He gets that off, but it just kind of delays his death, unfortunately. So they do get one kill here. Then they might actually turn their attention to Kongor, which they have a lot of melee heroes here. No Abyssal Skull, but the Ophelia minions will tank a little bit, and by tank, they will get obliterated by the Kongor's smash there.
I just want to talk quickly about Cursed. So, as I'm sure most of the viewers that are watching at the moment probably saw when they were watching your team in the previous tournaments, you guys and Tessie like to run Soul Reaver with Cursed. Do you run a Cursed in your strategies just based on having Soul Reaver, or do you see place for a Cursed in games such as where you've got a couple of Master who you want to kind of remove disables so that he can also attack as frequently as possible? But no, the kind of point I'm making is, does it have to be linked with something strong to be useful? Or can you see it being viable in a setup like this, where you've got a Puppet Master, and even at South Forest you want to remove debuffs on, such as like Electrician Stun, for example?
I think a curse is just really powerful in general. He has a really great toolkit for aggressive play, as you kind of put it. I think he's kind of best paired with an aggressive laner, just because that way he can get more usefulness. But I think he works in tri-lanes too. But there tend to be more defensive tri-lanes than offensive, because Curse's offensive capabilities are slightly limited. He does do damage with shield and cauterize to enemies, but if your plan is to be more offensive, you'd rather have a hero with uh, bigger nukes. For example, something like a Pyromancer comes to mind, something like that. But as far as like going aggressive, being a nuisance with being able to remove stuns and debuffs, he's really, really great for uh, taking a lot of attention and focus to him.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. Did I answer your question? I might have maybe kind of didn't answer it. I'm not sure. So right there, he removes the grip there with the fire shield. Will the Snooki be able to heal up in time? I think he just gets too many bodies attacking him, and now a Kirsty will also get locked down. He will fall. That is an ultimate warrior streak for Sandwraith, who, by the way, has a full hyper crown. I didn't even notice he was with the full hyper crown here at the 20-minute mark. But look at Puppet Master. I haven't really talked too much about him. He's almost 600 gold per minute. He's got the Shroud, and I think he might have even just finished the Shrunken Head here at the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, he's definitely flying at the moment. Shrunken has a fantastic pickup. He's going to do so much against the Electrician, Ophelia, even the Sandwraith damage as well. I still think though with Hellborn, and as we kind of saw them rotate into the Legion jungle just then, I do think when they really group together, their presence is just so strong. I don't think Legion have enough without a Cursed on its own to heal people.
Yeah.
Because you think when Curse uses his shield and his heal, he's going to die pretty much straight away because he has no items, and he's still quite a low level. So I think the Accursed pick has its value, yes, but I don't think it's going to be enough to withstand Hellborn. And I think some of this kind of pressure that Hellborn are dealing at the moment comes down to their draft being very solid and having so many tanky initiators, combined with Ophelia and Sandwraith, that just really kind of dishes out so much damage in a short space of time. So yeah, just to elaborate on that a bit further, I think that Hellborn, if they continue to group up, I think they could easily take this game fairly
Mhm.
early. I mean, I don't know the outcome of this game. This is just my opinion. Um, but no, we have to wait and see what they decide to do next. But I think if they were to continue to play aggressive, we could easily see yeah, some more pressure being put out in positive ways for them.
So something I look back at Legion's lineup is they have this flux pick, but let's actually hold that thought here. As we have the Sandwraith Mirage up in the top lane. There's the kill on the Puppet Master, so they find him. That is actually his second death of the game, but they did a good job there. I think they might have started that off with an Electrician grip, and Sandwraith was able to come in.
Yeah,
So
they
he was
also
not able to get his shrunken head off.
yeah, so they dusted him. So Puppet Master had no idea they were there.
Hmm.
I think it would have been safer to use a Shrunken and TP, but then this is what being a caster is for. You can kind of see things at a different angle to the players.
Hindsight
Um,
2020 always.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
So I wanted to point out the Flux pick. I feel like something that they're lacking on Legion is they don't really have a hero that synergizes well with the Flux. Like sure they can pull everyone together, but there's no AoE stun, there's no AoE lockdown, there's no big combo that's paired with the Flux. So it's really not getting fully utilized here. We're gonna have a grip come out on the Lords of Forest. Lilifon he's gonna get taken out, and now the barbed armor is applied here from Electrician, but he will be outnumbered. So great fight coming out here from Hex as they take 2 kills. They're now going to pressure in the racks. Ophelia was not here for this fight. She did not use her Ophelia's touch as well. So we'll see if they look to try to re-engage here as they have Ophelia coming in with the Veil Drop from the flank. But Sandwraith without a Mirage for 30 seconds, I don't know if this is a fight that they are willing to take with 2 players being dead, both the initiators in the Cthulhuphon and the Electrician. So they might just kind of stall back the push here and kind of wait out the respawners, but we have Ophelia in a flank position, so they might look to try to engage here in the next 20 seconds. The tower, I believe it will fall here as they will turn their attention on the Rhapsody. Rhapsody will fall, the tower goes down. Buyback just happened from Electrician. Now Ophelia is in the background. She's trying to get the lockdown with the Minotaurs. She does get the kill here onto the Accursed as well as the Gravekeeper. So double tap comes out. Here is the Mirage as now Sandwraith ports in onto the Lords of Force. Will he make the TP escape? No, he will not. The Hyper Crown doing some extra lightning damage there. So they get 3 kills the way of Donkey Kong. And
yeah. It's a
they
risky,
lost the tower though. Yep.
yeah, slightly risky push. Tower it's always good to get a tower, especially one that's tier 3 because it's worth so much gold. Um, but you've lost 3 heroes. Samwraith is now 520 GPM, so he's catching up to the Puppet Master. I like the barrier eyes will pick up onto Flux, although he didn't really get to use it, so it's obviously it was quite slightly ineffective then.
Hmm.
Um, but no, your point about Flux, I completely agree with. There isn't a lot of synergy. I think they wanted to kind of pick it in the sense that it would be such a good laner in terms of putting it suicide with the Gravekeeper.
Yeah.
But generally it's not going to do a lot with heroes like because Sam Forest you can argue is more Satisma onto a few heroes, but apart from that, it's not the greatest of global ultis for their lineup.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why he's probably skipped PK because there's no reason for him to get Portal Key if there's not much initiation coming out from Legion.
Yeah. Agree completely. Um, so do you think Puppet Master will need a Nullstone this game? Or maybe even the Grimoire of Power could be a choice for him to kind of either negate something like the Sandwraith ultimate or a grip on top of him. I am actually blanking if the Grimoire removes the Dream of Madness Force taunt effect. Uh, if that does come to play later on in the game. Do you know how that interaction works?
To be honest, I don't have much of a much of an understanding about the two different, so I'm gonna say no. But no.
They catch Lord Forest here. That was without a Mirage, so a little bit surprised by Dnke getting caught out there. He's usually very on top of his map awareness, but good pick coming out from Donkey Kong there on the Lord Forest. He's the secondary core here for Legion. Still farming quite
Yeah,
well though with the death.
yeah, I'm a little bit surprised as well because, as you say, he is generally known for being quite aware of his surroundings. Um, but no, the Puppet Master, I think if it was me playing the Puppet, I would probably go for Jomta's Bane, just because I love having extra ability on top of
Okay,
Bane.
here comes a Mirage. Will they be going into the mid lane is the question. They see Flux here. I did get a shield from a Cursed. They did not use the grip yet. There's a defensive push, which might buy him enough time. He speeds up the Sandwraith, which I actually would have rather seen him speed up himself, but he gets the grip. There's another fire shield to remove it, and now a Curse is going to sacrifice himself. He does not get the flame consumption off, and he will go down. So,
Sacrifice like a true support there. It reminds me of I don't know if you remember the player Nova back in the day for MSI. He was a German support player and he used to just sacrifice for his teammates all the time. And that's a bit of an overplay, a bit of Nova nostalgia from the Fnatic era. But no, the Puppet Master, just go back to my point, I think Geometer's Bane is what my preference would be, because it gives
okay.
more mobility, attack speed, disjoint potential, all of that stuff. And it's just generally a fantastic item on the hero because you can obviously pop the Whiplash on the illusions. The only thing I would say about that is with the Grimoire change will be incredibly strong. Now, I know 4 likes it as a player, he's most likely going to go for that.
Mhm.
So, you know, Grimoire in terms of what it does, offers fantastic farming potential. It has what some people class as a strong effect, if not possibly broken effect, with its ability to remove things such as Hellflower, Sheep Stick after a certain delay, things like that. And it's quite interesting change to the game. So yeah, I think we can see that before, but yeah,
If it was me playing the Puppet Master, I would probably buy an All Stone because I'm anticipating the Sandwraith to get a staff, and I would want to be able to block that Mirage being targeted on myself. But whether or not that's the best choice or not is probably debatable. Um,
he's just bought the Grimoire, by the way.
yeah, as the Grimoire can kind of get rid of some fear effects as well, so he gets the cooldown reduction on his inventory and stuff, I believe. He gets a 96-second cooldown on the Voodoo Puppet with the Grimoire. Puppet Show goes down to 16 seconds. So what's it get? A 4-second cooldown reduction. The Shroud actually only has a 12.8-second cooldown, which is pretty nice considering you get shrouded for 11 seconds. So that's actually not to be overlooked. You can kind of almost perma-shroud yourself if you wait out the cooldown. We have an initiation here from the Cthulhuphon. He applies the Dream of Madness, Lords of Force. He cannot get his shrunken head off, and he will go down. There's the protective melody in the background just in case to prevent any follow-up. But as we can see, Legion is in full retreat mode. The shrunken head was popped from Puppet Master, but they are not interested in fighting. And that's a domination streak coming out from Ophelia, as I believe he hasn't died yet this game. He is 8-0-9, so a great game coming out from Jim Carreyrou as they are now forcing the issue here on the tier 3 tower. And Lord Selforce, I believe he does have a buyback with the Shrunken Head, so they will probably look to use that here as the team fight continues. Here comes the buyback from Dnke. Here's the Flux pull in on top, and now Lord is here with the Shrunken Head. They are going to lock down the Cthulhuphon. He will fall, and they will also get the kill onto Electrician. Will they get the catch onto any more players here? The ports are happening. Bunny Lover will port out in the trees, and Ophelia, she will buy herself the distance. So it looks like the buyback is put to good use there. Very good patience from Lord as he waits for the Flux pull to come in on top. And they are all 5 ready to go with the Shrunken Head up in 2 more seconds for Puppet Master. So it should be a tier 2 tower here. Sandwraith. Okay, those are just the illusions in the bot lane. And we're going to see Hex go for a tier 3 tower. Now, I don't know if this is the right decision here for them to kind of force this, but they're going to force the glyph out. But they are very low on a couple of heroes here. They just used the Zombie Apocalypse on the tower. It does some good damage, but I would like to see them fall back and not really commit to this fight, because they don't have Shrunken on Lord. And Voodoo Puppet, well, it's coming up, but I don't know. Is this a fight that Legion should be looking to take now? They kind of used a lot of their resources. I feel like this is where you want to fall back and just
I think
space the map and take resources away from the Hellborn jungle.
yeah, there's no reason for them to say, especially as they know Simon has the ultimate or initiation.
Ooh, Cthulhuphani almost gets the catch here on the Puppet Master. And Legion is looking to take a fight here on the high ground. They kind of... Oh, they do have vision. Okay, so they do see what's going on. But Sandwraith up in the top lane. He's got the Null Fireblade picked up, by the way. I love the Null Fireblade pickup. Um, as it will
Yeah,
drain lots of damage, or do lots of damage to the 3 heroes without the Shrunkens on.
Yeah, I think I think arguably Null Fight could be the best item on Samray, just for the mana burn potential
We
that
got
it
Veiled
gives
Rod
you.
Ophelia. He's going to walk into Lord Self-Force. Will he get the initiation they're looking for? As Lord, he pops the Shrunken Head just to be on the safe side, but the Skeleton King, unfortunately, not able to grip him up there.
I'll notice electrician
We're going to see
towards Barb
the
actually.
Mirage come out here. They're going to get the kill onto Flux. And now Accursed, he is also possibly in a vulnerable position. No, he's going to get himself to safety, it looks like. But Puppet Master, he's got his shroud up. He gets dusted. He pops the Shrunken, and he is now on the run. Looks like he will be fine. It was a good timing on the Shrunken there as he was about to get hit by the trample, which probably would have meant a dead Puppet Master.
I just wanted to kind of briefly bring up the point about the Barb's armor on electrician.
Yeah,
So with the changes, I've seen it, I've used it in games. The Barb's armor change is quite ridiculous in my eyes because
yeah.
I thought Barb's was a little bit underused before and wasn't as effective as it possibly could be on certain heroes,
Hmm.
unless you play, let's say, Legionnaire, for example.
Yeah.
But with the changes now, like Barbed Armor almost gives you that potential to kind of solo kill a hero that attacks you, and it's quite an incredible change because of the cost. It hasn't really changed at all, and it's just been buffed so much. And I like the pickup a lot onto Electrician based on the fact that he is known for being one of those kind of front presence, very tanky heroes. And if Puppet Master chooses to attack him with barbs, he's going to take a lot of return damage. So the pickup I think is great. I think the item is fantastic now, possibly slightly broken, who knows. Um, but yeah, no, it's something
Look
that's
at the
good to
Veiled
see
Rods there from Legion.
these
They're
scrims.
looking for some blood here, but will they find it is the question. So back to the electrician. Do you think so? He picks up an acolyte staff here, either building that into a frostfield plate or a sheepstick. Do you feel like he's lacking the portal key, or do you feel like it's just fine that they don't go the route of the portal key? Because they have one on Cthulhu font, but
I I
um,
think it's I think it's fine. I think he needs to get other items over Portal Key in this game.
okay. Lord Self-Forest charging in here. He's gonna pop the Shrunken Head. Puppet Master is here as well. He pops the barbed armor though, and Puppet Master, he is in a very dangerous position now. He pops the Shrunken, he's forced to run away. The Dream of Madness is applied from Cthulhu. Protective Melody in the trees. Well placed there from Bunny Lover. And it's a double tap coming out from Sandwraith. Will it be more is the question. Sandwraith is here pounding in the auto attacks, and it's a wipe. A near wipe as Lord Self-Forest makes the escape. A 4-for-nothing team fight, and I gotta say, I think the ultimates from the Protected Melody and the Dream of Madness really kicking in there. It's kind of hard to see as a spectator, but with how healthy the Hellborn side is from that fight, I think those ultimates coming into play made a big difference. Lord is going to insta-die here as he gets caught out by the grip without his shrunken head down. Flux will also fall. Second buyback comes out from Lord, but still not a lot of fighting power here from the Legion side. Puppet Master will be forced to use his first buyback as they will glyph the tower and try to hold the Raxus here, but the Hellborn side is just so strong as they're still all five. The grip comes out again, and the Lord Self-Forest will fall. Puppet Master all by himself. Not much he can do here as he's got all the heroes in his face. And that might do it, BKB. The GGs are called. And the 35-minute mark, the game will be taken here by our Hellborn side here as they get the first set of racks down. And, well, they almost kill Gravekeeper, but the 2 kills on Lord and the kill on Puppet Master probably sealing the deal, there.
GG's easy. I think Legion just lacked the team fight. Um, Pretty simple, really. I think Hellborn was just too strong. The Hellborn draft, I think, was better, and I thought that from when the game started too. And yeah, the way they executed the Ophelia was fantastic. She had no deaths, she had a bloodbath with 13 assists, so you can't ask much more from her. And yeah, Legion Gravekeeper pick. I'm not sure what they were trying to really do with it, apart from have some potential in the lane. Um, but yeah, Hellborn, as I say, the team fight was too strong, and I think that's what it came down to.
Yeah, I go back to the draft and I just kind of question the Flux and the Gravekeeper picks. I think the rest of the lineup was okay, but the lineup as a whole didn't, we pointed out, didn't have a way to really utilize the Flux ultimate. The Gravekeeper, we talked about some of his strengths and weaknesses as a hero. Being played in more of that supportive role, he kind of doesn't really get to enable that snowball effect where he kind of runs around and sort of like one shots people or bursts people down really quickly. Being played as a support, he kind of lacks that snowball effect. And the Ophelia play coming out from Donkey Kong, I think this is the first time I've seen Donkey Kong run a jungler, and they ran it with great success. So that's pretty nice to see that they had such a strong performance here. But the Ophelia rotations in the early game, the team fighting that they took with the Sandwraith ultimates, just very, very well played overall from the side of Donkey Kong, I feel like.
Yeah, I do not disagree with any of that, and I think Helm's items were just spot on as well. You know, you look at the Geometer's Bane, Northfire, Hypercrown, Sandwraith. I think that's a perfect build. Ophelia with the Astrolabe Energizer into a late game Sheepstick. Electrician had Barbed, known as Wisdom. You know, lots of portal keys, and yeah, Legion didn't have enough to kind of contest it apart from some Shrunken Head and Grimoires. But you know, when it comes to the team fight in general, I don't think it's enough.